Yes, back. Sitting in front of the camera for the first time in, well, in terms of guitar making, probably about a year. And a lot has changed, we may have noticed, in the world. You know, I live in France. I've got this wonderful house here. I'm pretty much operational with my workshop now, although the workshop's been doing a lot more than building guitars for quite a while now. But yeah, there's been quite a swap around in the world, and things are different. People that we thought were friends are no longer friends. People that we didn't like very much have now become very close friends. It's a very strange world we live in, and I don't want that to affect our relationship. You know, we know each other well. You know where I stand. I think I know where you stand. And if I don't, I'm sure you're going to tell me quite soon. Anyway, let's get back to some guitar making, because guitar making is one thing that I haven't actually done for almost a year. And I'm missing it. And building kitchens and renovating this house has been an extraordinary trial and a great deal of work. And I think I need a rest. I think I need a change, and I need to do something that brings me unadulterated pleasure. And I hope it does to you too. One very valid question is, where are we in the making of this guitar? And the answer is nowhere whatsoever, because this is not the guitar I was building. This is a Fender Marauder, which is an incredibly underrated and now increasingly valuable and rare guitar. I'll just put that to one side. And the guitar I'm talking about, of course, is the Stratocaster build. It's ground to a halt. There's no way of getting around it. One advantage of that is it gives you a chance to think. Second advantage is it gives the body paint a long time to go nice and hard, and nitrocellulose paints take months to actually reach their proper sort of hardness, and this has gone off nice and hard now, and I must admit I don't like this very much. I'm actually on the cusp of stripping all of this off and respraying it green or something. I've never had a green guitar, and I don't particularly like green guitars, but I think you should try everything in life at least once, within reason. Enough of that. I mean, this is a good opportunity to look at the guitar objectively and try and make some decisions about where you want it to go. And I'm not sure I know where I want it to go. But what it does need is it needs some springs in the back, it needs some electronics in it, and it needs stringing up and tensioning in order to sort of ascertain where it's going as a guitar. So the most important thing I think we need to do first is to get some electrics in it. And the issue with electrics is you end up spending quite a lot of money on little bits and pieces and good quality switches, capacitors, potentiometers. We're looking for CTS and good quality components like that. But at the end of the day, those components don't actually, as much as a lot of people will disagree with me, I'm sure, I don't think that they actually contribute very much to the sound, if anything. They are, after all, just passive electric components. Which brings me to this. Now, this is not a sort of preloaded scratch plate like you sometimes get from places like AliExpress. This is just a pre-wired loom, but it's really good quality. It comes with a nice orange drop capacitor, some decent sort of medium-sized CTS-style pots. It also comes with a really nice 5-position switch of the sort of quality that you normally get from Japan. So all in all, I'm pretty chuffed with this. I'm considering that it's pre-wired, ready to rock, and it came in at a price below a decent switch. So I think this is a win-win situation, and I'm going to try this out. If it doesn't work, I'll go back to my normal bits and pieces approach, but I'm really happy with this. This would seem a good time to mention the fact that I've bought a drone, enabling me to take these shots in the courtyard and this wonderful zoom into the workshop. And here we are, back in the workshop. I think when I left London, that was probably the last thing I ever really did in the guitar making world, and I'm really sorry that I haven't been able to keep up with your expectations.
I've certainly failed in my expectations manyfold. I can't believe it was actually 5 months ago that I made a short video saying, hey, I've got the workshop almost up and running and I've got 3 cameras. It could be so much easier. I'm going to be able to do lots and lots of stuff and it's going to be amazing. And it isn't. What happens is you just end up building bathrooms and toilets and kitchens, fixing stuff, trying to get the central heating running, fitting cat flaps. I mean, it's just endless and I'm utterly exhausted by it all. But in order to retrieve some sort of sanity, I need to get back in the workshop and I need to get building guitars because it's what makes me happy. And it's one of the core reasons that we're here in the first place. I wanted a bigger workshop. I didn't want to continue in the UK. And here we are. And the dream is fulfilled, although the dream, as always, is tarnished by reality. But here we are. But I can't work in here the way it is. It's such a mess, you know. I've got brackets and, you know, bits of plumbing and, I don't even know what this is. It's not even my hammer. This was here when I got here. So if we're going to be building guitars in here, or doing anything on the Strat, which I really want to do, I've got to clear it up. There's no other way around it. I've got to clear it up. And that is a complete pain in the posterior. Well, that may not have seemed like a long time to you, but that was a week gone by between the recording of that bit and this bit. And finally, I'm in the workshop with my 3 cameras all set up, ready to roll. So you may recognize this. I can understand if it's a dim, distant memory from the past. But this is the Stratocaster that was started a year ago that's been sitting around waiting for me to have the free time to come back. And here it is. And what it needs is some electrics, as we've said, but there's another thing that needs adding, and that is some springs, a retaining clamp, and we need to set up the earthing wire in here as well in order to make sure that this doesn't hum when we wire it up. And then we will go on to wiring it up. And we'll be doing that in about 40 seconds. But first, I just quickly wanted to share this with you because it's amazing.
So we're having a cherry glut this year. It's been incredible. I've never seen so many cherries on one old tree. Oh my God, fathers, look at them there. I think I'm just gonna trim the whole branch. That's probably about half of what we've picked just today. Wow. Not sure what we're going to do with them, apart from maybe a cherry clafouti and then eat them.
Using my trusty little drill, I have just stripped down the guitar, taken the neck off, taken the pick guard off, and I've grabbed myself my trusty claw mechanism. So we're going to need a pencil because we need to mark up where these 2 screws are going to end up in here. As you can see, I've made pencil marks here. They need to be quite deep holes. And the reason for that is you're using quite long screws. Now the long screws are necessary because they might have to move quite a long way. So you drill them all the way in and then adjust to taste. And normally I would drill these 2 holes, the claw that pulls the springs on the bridge back into position with a very long drill like this. Unfortunately, this one's too big and I cannot for the life of me find the correct one. And that's the big problem with moving from one country to the next. You lose stuff. I'm probably going to find that in about a year's time, if I'm lucky. But I have an angled drill, which is really useful. Again, a little job. And you can actually change the angle on this. So I'm changing it to a right angle. There we go. Turned it to a right angle, and that way I can drill into these slots. And I'm going to push it down as far as I can. And this drill is obviously a bit bent. That's probably enough, actually. Drills like this bend. It's not a bad thing in this case, but I don't want this to bend too much because it will snap. So that's set up now. Those holes are drilled. Probably going to need a screwdriver, but I'll just locate them first, like that, and like that. Close enough. And then I will select a suitably long screwdriver that will fit, hopefully this one. And we can screw those in. Trying to keep them as flat as possible because we don't want them pressing back up against the cover that goes over the spring cavity. Now I don't want to go too deep with this because if I go too deep it'll be too tight and I won't be able to get the strings on. And that is enough. Then that comes up to there, and then the springs go on there and attach to the bridge. So, time to fit the bridge, I think. I don't know about you, but the whammy bars on Strats, they're great, but they're a little bit short, and I'm actually a Jaguar player. But there's something about the Strat tremolo arm which it doesn't quite suit me. So what I do is I pull the little white handle off, or whitish handle off, and then I put it in my bench vise and I just bend it back a bit to take that strange curve out of it and make it much more gentle. I think that's actually been corrupted by quite a lot of manufacturers, and it's got a little bit more extreme over the years for some reason, and it sort of sticks into the middle of my hand, which just feels counterintuitive to me. So I pull this off and I stick it in a vise and I just push it back, not too much, just take probably half the bend out of it. And I also make sure that it's relatively flat because I don't want it sticking up into my hand. These little modifications are easy enough to do, so I do them. I'm going to put the bridge into the body, and I'm just going to locate it with one screw. And there's a good reason for this. So many things are completely non-standard. And one of the things that's non-standard is bridges, and particularly the string spacing on some of the bridges. This one has got quite narrow spacing, but unfortunately there are some pilot holes in the body which have got a wider spacing, and they're going to lead me adrift. Now, experience has taught me to get rid of this straight away and start drilling some holes in the body in the right place. If you don't, you're just going to end up with a hole in the wrong place and end up having to put something in it to fill it and fix the problem. So I'm going to put some holes in the body now, which override the ones that were put there during manufacture, to get rid of that problem. I'm not going to drill these in any distance whatsoever. I'm just going to drill them enough so that they become pilot holes, because the actual holes will be thinner. My new bridge pilot's drilled, so we can remove that. Now I've got a set of holes which are not going to lead me off course. Try and get these vertical. Cool. I'll now be running around the shop looking for the right screws to go in these holes because I don't know where they are. Welcome back to Philosophy Corner, this time from my very new corner in my very new workshop. And there's only one thing that's constantly on my mind, and that's what we did coming here. We moved. And I think having procrastinated about this for like 2 years and then being sort of delayed by COVID and finally getting it together to get here, the only thing I would like to say about the whole business, which is really meaningful to anybody but me, is if you want to do something, just do it. Just get on with it. Don't think about it too long. Think it through, obviously, but then just do it. Just get on with it. If you're going to, move to another country, then make plans, do it properly, move. We, I think, procrastinated about it a little bit too long. I think we should have decided and gone. And that preferably would have been about 15 or 20 years ago. The trauma of moving to another country cannot be underestimated. It's just a mountain of work, and emotionally it's a terrible strain. But ultimately the rewards, if you choose the right destination, are huge. And we absolutely love it here and we do not regret it. Obviously I miss my kids, I miss my grandchildren, but I think this was the right thing to do. They go on at great length about the bureaucracy in France and how terrible it is. And I've just got to be honest with you, it's far, 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 far worse than they say. It is quite ridiculous. But it's something that you have to deal with in order to just get on. It's annoying, but you know, it's just one of those things. And wherever you go, it's going to be like that. There are going to be downsides. There are going to be things that irritate you. There are going to be things that feel insurmountable. Doing my French tax return almost brought me to tears. It was terrible. And then I missed the deadline because I was given the wrong advice, etc., etc., etc. But ultimately, you learn from your mistakes, like you do in any walk of life. And it won't happen again, I hope. But I don't regret it. So if you've got a plan, if you've got an idea, a dream, pursue it, because time runs very quickly as you get older. When you're a kid, it just seems to last forever. And you feel like you're continually waiting for things to happen, and you can't wait to grow up. And you feel like a kid for decades and decades and decades. And then all of a sudden you're 50, and then time shoots by you. A year goes like in a flash. So seize the day. Anyway, let's get back to the build. So here's a tip. When you put a Stratocaster bridge in a body, don't just put it in the right place, left and right, and start drilling holes like I have done so many times. You need to tilt it onto the flat base, because on the front blade of the bridge, it's got a sort of flat foot, and it's meant to be tipped forward. That tipping forward is what allows you to bend down. So that way, when you come to put your screws in, they will allow the bridge to move afterwards. I'm going to do these by hand because it's critical how far they go down. You don't want to go down so far like this that the bridge starts to lift up at the back, because that is not how it is meant to be. It's a floating bridge. It's meant to be flat, pulled flat by the springs in the body, like that. So that allows you the tremolo movement up and down. The normal position will be when it's floating a little bit above the body like that. And make sure that you can get that tipping motion whilst keeping it in the correct position, left and right on the body. Right, I'm going to put the other screws in. As I say, stop, don't go all the way in, at least finish by hand. Yeah, we're still pivoting. Okay, bridge is installed. So in order to get this to function, we need springs. And indeed, I have a lot of springs. So let's see if it's going to be possible to put this together without breaking a finger. Because at the moment, this is not under pressure. Now, on a modern Strat, I find that 3 springs is usually enough. It's very rare that you need any more, because people tend to use lighter strings. So there we go, there's 3 strings. And in order to get some tension on these springs, we just adjust this screw. And this one as well. And that gives us the pull back. Now, what that will do is pull it back onto the body. And we don't want to hurt the body, so we can put the tremolo arm in, and then hopefully we can just lift it up and put a piece of paper under there. So at this stage, we can see from the side that the tremolo is sitting flat on the body. Now that is not correct, but under string tension, that will lift to about there, just a little bit up, and that will give us our normal position. Now, if we left it like this, we wouldn't be able to bend up, whereas if we balance the trem with the springs to sit about there, we can go up and we can go down. I've just realised something, that this actually has caused yet another problem, which is so common because None of these parts are standard. We all think they're standard, but they're not. And now, because I've moved the bridge a little bit further forward, nothing that's going to affect the intonation ability of the guitar, but it's come forward just a little bit. So I'm going to have to take a little bit off the back of the scratch plate to accommodate for the fact that the bridge has moved forward very, very slightly and it no longer fits. We're talking a millimetre or so, but it's enough to just not make it fit. My weapon of choice for pickguards is always a scraper. It doesn't scratch it like sandpaper does. It's more accurate than a knife. It's deadly sharp and it makes very short work of this sort of thing. It just takes little tiny perfect slices off of it. And that way I can just eyeball it and dig away at it until it's right. It's good for the corners as well. That's probably enough. Let's try it. And that, oh yes, that fits absolutely perfectly. Phew, okay, well we'll leave it there for today and I'll pick it up in the morning, I think. And pick it up I did, and I'd like you to pick up your mouse for me and subscribe to my channel. It makes such a difference. Anyway, number 6 should be quite soon because I've recorded most of that already, so I look forward to seeing you all very soon.